And I'm
And
interested in your second point here.
oh yeah, my second one, my second point in
What?
reality. I am ironically more comfortable filming by myself than I am with like if Maui was with me or if I was in a group
Really?
with family or friends. I noticed that. I'm Trizzy,
And I'm Leah.
and this is Ticket to Anywhere podcast, bringing you the gear, tools, and tips to equip you for a travel-filled life.
No matter your travel experience or lack thereof, we aim to be your first stop when you're thinking of where to go, how to get there, what to bring, and what to do.
Catch the latest episode every other Wednesday on YouTube or your favorite listening app.
We'd love to connect with you. Find Ticket to Anywhere on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Pinterest, and LinkedIn.
Welcome back to another episode of the Ticket to Anywhere podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Trizzy at TrizzInc.
And I'm Leah, LA in flight. And this episode has been a long time coming. A long time coming. And as you both know, or as you both know, as you all know, Trizzy and I are both creators in the sense that yes, we create content. Trizzy has a YouTube channel. I have a newsletter and different social media channels, but we also create content for the podcast. The podcast is content. And we realized we've never kind of shared our internal monologue and processes and thoughts and hopes and dreams and failures.
I love talking about the realities of stuff.
Mhm.
I'm definitely human, y'all. I am human as can be.
We definitely all are, and we thought this would be helpful, hopefully, for those out there to show that you're not alone in feeling the ups and downs because I've definitely been feeling them very, very recently, with a big change in my life, and so this was kind of not necessarily a therapy session, but yeah, kind of a therapy session.
Hopefully, like an inspirational session too for both of
Yeah.
us.
Yep.
'Cause every
Yep.
time I'm not gonna lie, like, every time I'm with a group of creators, like, from a meetup or just a get-together, I get, like, this spark of motivation and inspiration, like, "Okay, I'm gonna quit my job tomorrow, I'm gonna go full time." And then, of
It's
course, it
so
just, like,
true.
dies down, it's a cycle.
Yeah. But I love that, we still get excited like that though.
Mhm.
That's something I hope we never lose, and I don't think we will. I just think like there are seasons of life in which maybe things are slower than others. Like for you will hear in the episode, whoever's listening out there, like this is a slower season of life for me, and I'm not exactly proud of where I'm at in my content creation journey, but I'm trying to turn that around. I'm just
Mhm.
trying to get a handle on things right now.
Yeah, I think you're just adjusting and settling into this new lifestyle,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think we all had those moments where we just have to work with what we got and see what happens.
100%. But there's so much good advice and information in here as well. Trizzy is constantly asked, about her gear and her settings and processes and whatnot. And we wanted to kind of share it from both sides because Trizzy and I are also very different in that sense.
Different
We're very
travelers
different.
and different
Like,
content creators.
yeah, definitely. But then we come together on the podcast, which is also really fun and cool. And this is being released just after our fifth birthday, our fifth internal birthday, because we have two birthdays.
Yes,
But,
for sure.
it's kind of a nice wrap up of how we've been doing, how we've been creating the past 5 years also.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, so how are you celebrating this episode via
Um,
drink-wise?
yeah, with coffee as always because we would have never made it through the past 5 years and through, all of this content creation without our fuel, which is tea and coffee. So for me, I just have a latte with a homemade, not homemade espresso, but espresso that I made at home with a syrup that my sister has made from scratch. It's like an apple cider cream syrup. So it's an apple cider cream latte, which sounds so fancy.
That is very
It
fancy.
is, but that's what I'm drinking.
Wow, good
Yeah.
for you guys. Speaking of homemade, I also have a chai tea latte with, homemade cashew milk, and the chai tea is from the Tazo brand.
Ooh,
Just to celebrate
perfect
the
for the
fall and the Halloween, October spirit. Cheers to the content creators that we are into a new episode. So, thanks for tuning in,
Cheers.
y'all. Cheers. All right, it's time to talk about the fun part of traveling, creating content. I
How
know this is
sarcastic were
something
you when
I
you
was
said the fun part of traveling?
very sarcastic
Okay,
because
okay, I was like,
it's like the toughest mental journey that I
It
have been on, and we have been at it for years and years,
Mhm.
but it's just constantly, a struggle for me. Like, it literally is like if you don't use it, you lose it type of
Mhm,
thing. So that's why I
100%.
always have to be on trips.
Dang, I need to get in that mindset. Okay. I have picked up another role, as Trizzy knows, and I've been quite slammed. And so I've definitely noticed my content creation has completely taken a back burner. I don't know how y'all 9 to 5ers do it.
For real.
But it's different, like, 9 to 5 is like there are people who their job isn't demanding, and my job is demanding, but I love it,
Mhm.
right?
That's
At
good.
the same time, I like what I'm doing, I'm good at what I'm doing, but it requires every every minute of every hour that I've dedicated to work. And so, if you've noticed, like, LA in Flight, I just haven't been pumping out new content, and I'm a little ashamed about that, to be honest. I am ashamed, and we're gonna talk about it a lot in this episode. Like, this episode was very timely because we're also releasing it. We have a webinar in just 2 days with the Travel Goods Association after we release this episode. But we wanted this episode to be pretty evergreen and show you the ups and downs that Trizzy and I go through when creating content. And like, we create content our own, but then we also create the podcast as well. And then Trizzy
Mhm.
has an additional YouTube channel. So there's a lot that we do, and we've just been doing it for years. And yeah, it's like excited to talk about the ups and downs, and this episode definitely has been a long time coming. We're just waiting for the right moment, and I'm glad we found it.
The right moment, yeah. After many questions of what gear do you use and how do you
Mhm.
do this, how do you do that? So here we are finally.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
so I'm gonna list out the gear that I use really quickly. Obviously, iPhone. It's like the handiest thing, the thing that I use every single day, every single trip. My latest addition is the DJI Osmo Pocket
Yeah.
3, and that has been lovely, especially for those who are a bit shy, who wants to stay a little bit discreet when they're capturing content. Same with the Insta360 X3. I know I've mentioned this in a lot of previous episodes. This is great POV, and also you finally get to record yourself, full length of body as well. You're just gonna get like a weird distortion a bit because it is a wide angle lens on it. My favorite is, and my baby, is my Sony Alpha 7 III. It is my professional use for work as well, and we've used it professionally with a lot of sponsorship, and we use it to film our episodes here and there, and I think it is the greatest hardware for videos and photos. So that's my
Okay.
baby. Although it's heavy, but it's just I'm happy with it. And as far as like my tripod goes, I have two tripods. One is like a full length that will hold my Sony Alpha 7 III. That is the Ulanzi Travel Tripod TT09. And I also have like a mini one where it has flexible legs. So if I wanted to put it on like a gate or a fence to film me walking, it's called the Ulanzi MT68 Octopus Flex. We'll show up the photos on our YouTube video so
For
you guys
sure.
can see how they like.
Love Trizzy's gear stack. Yeah, she's always being asked that. So she's your girl for recommendations
For sure.
on what
Oh,
camera.
I actually forgot one, but it's just I don't really feel confident in using it still. It's my it's my drone DJI
Oh,
Mini
yeah,
3
sweet.
Pro. I'm still not confident, but that
Really?
is yeah. It's cuz it's not in my hand. The remote control is in my
Mhm,
hand,
mhm.
but the drone itself is so far away from me and I always get so scared using it. But yeah, I mean, little by little, it's just kind of like the mentality of creating
Yeah.
or capturing content. If you don't use it, you lose it. And
Mhm.
because Los Angeles is such a big city, there's a lot of restrictions and
Mm.
limitations. It's hard for me to actually practice, like every day.
Mhm.
I have to go super far away, like 2 or 3 hours away, in order for me to practice. And that's just kind of like time consuming. And I don't
Yep.
have that much time every week. So
Yep. Yep.
it's been a struggle, but that is
Yeah.
part of my gear list.
One of yeah, I just think it's that one is quite important too, and I think that the whole thing with, like, using it and losing it mentality, that plays a bigger role in things we're gonna talk about later. Yeah, you're the go-to person for gear, I'm always asking you about it too, even though I've been a content creator as well. Mine is a little bit more simple.
Hey, if it
Um
works, it works.
it does, and, like, Truzy and I always talk about this, but it's, like, the best camera that you will ever have or use is the one that you're always already using, and for me, that is my beloved, yes, iPhone, and I'm still on in the year of our Lord 2024, I am still on the iPhone 13 Pro. That's my main camera, and it's funny because when I'm with you, Trizzy, we're always like, "Okay, let's use this camera, and let's use this camera," and then we end up taking out our iPhones.
Yeah, we do.
So, it's just quick, Yeah, it's
Mhm,
quick. I actually have we'll put photos up like Trizzy said, but I have some of my gear with me. So, tried and true tripod. Can you see it? You can only see if it's from my face.
mhm.
Tripod, mine, it literally looks like a weapon. Like Disneyland asked me if it was a weapon or a tripod, and I said it was a tripod because I actually take care of mine pretty well, and I wrap it in cloth so that it doesn't get all banged up. But it's just a 12-inch with the legs, Bluetooth remote control. Try to bring it everywhere.
Were you
And
able
it's
to
like,
get it to Disney?
yeah, Disney let me bring it
Really?
in. Mhm.
That's surprising. I thought they
Mhm.
didn't allow, like, selfie sticks.
No, I think they said we looked it up on the website and you can bring it in as long as it doesn't protrude like your body or your bags. Like it's
Hmm,
not as long as it's not bigger than your bags, if that
okay.
makes sense. Yeah, brought in my 12-inch tripod. My ring light is key, actually. This one fits on phones, fits on laptops, and now that it's getting darker these days, I use it. This one has like multiple lights and shades, different settings. Mini mic. These are pretty new and I'm still getting used to putting these on. Mini
Mm,
mic.
yes.
But our friend George Lloyd has always said, "Stay mic'd so you don't have to, like, get ready to be mic'd." It's a play off, like, "Stay ready so you don't have to get ready,"
Yeah.
right? But I tried that one time at a conference, and I was like, "Oh, this is actually smart," like, especially at an event where you're trying to get a bunch of content. He just, like, stays mic'd all the time.
Mm.
I was like, "Oh, I kinda like that."
So you just get, like,
Um
the BTS audio as well
Mhm.
too?
Mhm.
Nice.
Exactly, yep. I have a DJ Osmo Pocket, but I have the 2, so I have an older version. Shout out to Denise for selling it to me because I got it at really great price, and it's a good piece of equipment for me to have where I'm using it, like, not maybe as much as my iPhone, but I also get a taste of what it's like to use it without having to pay, like, the current price for a creator bundle, which is almost $800.
Mhm.
So that's why I'm like, I'm okay with like a one version older for like a good price. And then, yep, portable charger, always got to have it. Try to have multiple. My tech bag is Kuyana, which I love, and it's super soft, real great leather. And then this is my lifesaver, is my laptop stand. This is part of it because like when we want to edit, when we want to record anything, I cannot stand like my head being like this. I need it level.
Mhm.
And I don't want any problems with my neck or back as much as we're on computers. So my laptop stand comes with me pretty much everywhere.
That's been a popular item too. Didn't you have, like, a few people come up to you, like,
Oh
in different
yeah.
countries when you
Yeah.
bust it out?
I do. And I'm just like, especially nomads, like digital nomads, when I see them working, I'm like, how have you been traveling for 4 years without a laptop stand? My neck could never.
Mhm. Right. And
So,
yours is good. Yours is adjustable. I've seen it, and I'm like,
yep.
"Oh, that's nice."
Adjustable, and I've learned the hard way that it needs to be for me like a pound and a half or lighter because it just doesn't need to be 5 pounds. I'm like, why am I carrying all this extra weight? So I try to get the really light ones, adjustable light ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll also link all our goodies in the description and in the show notes as well too.
that we will.
Yes. Okay. And I know we have some tips and tricks to make creating life a little bit easier. What is one of your biggest creator hacks? Or a few. You can name a few.
I have, I think, two. So I'm gonna combine one of the ones I
Okay.
have. This one I actually learned from a good friend, Janine, the wild explorer. She has great California content. She's an outdoor enthusiast. Um, but her and I went to TravelCon in Memphis a few years ago, and we actually blocked out 2 hours in our calendar one morning to wake up slowly. And I went to her hotel room and we planned out and filmed a bunch of content in 2 hours. And it was probably one of the most brilliant things I've ever done, where we set aside planned time to capture content.
Mhm.
So that is one of my biggest hacks. And now I want to do that wherever I go. It's like, even if it's an hour, even if it's 45 minutes, like, plan time to either capture or edit or write down what you need. That's my biggest hack. And then, second biggest hack, which many of you probably already do, on the plane ride home, as you're getting to your final destination, start organizing and clearing things out, because that's the easy part, like deleting duplicates, deleting photos with eyes shut, trimming videos, etc. Plane rides or bus or train rides home is when I start doing that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about
Keep
you, Trizzy?
Mine is really having a shot list and an edit list. Like, especially if you are planning to do a lot of curated content out there, in which a few of mine, since this year has been a lot more curated, I've just created a content, or sorry, a shot list, and then which lens to use and which frame rates to use, and everything is so handy, so accessible while you're shooting on the day of, that you're just shooting bam bam bam. It's easy. And then you get to the editing, you don't have to really sort through a whole bunch of random footage. Like, you know what you're already going to use in the edit. Like, I use notion.com and they have a great template for a shot list, and that is what I've been using, and it's very detailed. I like it. Other people have like several other sorts of templates that they want to use. Before Notion, I created my own and I was like, man, this is not happening. So luckily Notion has been working great for me. There's a checkbox to see if, like, after you've done a shot, you could just mark it off.
Mhm.
And same thing with the edit list, and it's just 10 times easier, especially for curated content. And another one, it might be harder, especially if you're on the go. But if you are doing curated, utilize your frame rates per second, like, properly. So let's say if you want a cinematic static footage, then you should be shooting on a 24 frames per second. And this goes for iPhones, this goes for
Mhm.
DJI Osmo, because they have different frame rates, and also like big cameras like the Sony or Canon, Nikon, whatever. So 24 is for more of a cinematic mode. Static shot is great. If you're on the phone and you know that you're strictly going to use this footage for Instagram stories or even like YouTube shorts, then you could shoot it on 30 frames per second, because that is what they require when you're uploading. Because anything else, they're just going to compress your files
Mhm.
into 30 frames per second, and the quality might look a little bit off. And then also, if you're walking, doing a lot of POV, and if you're capturing a lot of like sports, any like big movements with the camera, then 60 frames per second or 60 frames plus is the way to go. Because that just means you have more footage or more frames in that 1 second of the video. So it looks a little bit more crisp. And when you slow it down, the slow mo is a bit more crisp as well. So it's a lot to do and a lot to plan for, but like I said, with having a shot list in hand and, knowing your frame rates, your content will look amazing.
Fire. And so for those that don't know, if you have an iPhone, we can only speak to iPhone. If you go to your camera settings and go to record video, frames per second is also known as FPS. So frames
Mhm.
per second is FPS. So Trizzy's recommending 4K. Actually, mine is preset to 4K at 60 FPS, but I'm doing a lot of big movements usually. And then
Exactly.
I only use Notes because it's fast. I don't use Notion because the last thing I need is another app, but I
For
should use
sure, yeah.
project management app.
It's all
I
good.
don't.
4K and HD, they're both great to use depending on what you want. 4K definitely is gonna eat more of your space on your phone or on your SD cards, and I usually try and use 4K if I am working, on, like, sponsorship videos, like something that's paid professionally, and HD is more like, "Okay, this is just gonna be social media on my own page." But yeah, if I know if this shot is gonna be for YouTube, if it's gonna be on the Maui and Trizzy YouTube channel, then I will make it 4K and make it high as possible.
That's good. I just assume all my stuff is gonna be sponsored, so I always am shooting in
Hell
4K.
yeah, girl. Like, for instance, when we were shooting our episode for Kalani Oasis, we had a shot list. I made sure that we had every little tiny B-roll that we could get. And if you guys didn't catch our one shot take of the house tour of Kalani Oasis, that was part of me. It wasn't more so like a shot list, it was more of a, transition plan list. Like, okay, the living room's gonna have Leah get up from the TV, walk towards the kitchen, this and that. And the transition from the bathroom to the backyard was from, like, a closed door, like, something like that you really have to keep in mind. And with having that planned before your shot, and you'll thank yourself. You'll feel so accomplished too. You'll be like, "Oh, wow, this one shot take was great. Everybody loved it too." So, it was a good way to do, like, a house tour.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a sick way. And, having your shot list and edit list always reminds me of, like, storyboarding, I guess, for those old school people that come from what is it, film, I guess?
Mhm. Yeah, and music videos too.
That's true, yeah,
Mhm.
where they used to have to, like, sketch it out.
Definitely.
Something old school like that.
Yeah, and it could also be like a vision board too. So, you could
Mm,
just put photos. Probably you don't if you're not one to think of which lens to use, which frame rates to use, just add photos to your shot list and then try and create it from there.
yeah, I need
Mhm.
to do more of that. I just life is moving too fast for me. So,
It
it's
is.
funny because yours, it's like when you utilize FPS properly and have a shot and edit list, those are the things you need to do before you set aside planned time to capture content, which is what I recommended. So do
Mhm.
Trizzy's things before you do my thing. Oh, man, and now the dirty dark side of it. Well, it doesn't have to be dirty or dark, but so we're going to talk about realities of being a creator. And for us, that's, creating content on our own for various channels and then also podcasting at the same time. So reveal to us your deepest secrets.
My deepest secrets. It is extremely important, no matter how much on a of a roll you're on with pumping out content. You need to take a technology break. And not just a phone break or a screen break. I think everything technology, like put your phone, even maybe even Spotify, put that away
Mm,
and then just
mhm.
go outside, be with nature, listen to
Touch
the
some
sounds of.
grass.
Yeah, exactly. I like every once in a while on the weekend, I'll be so far away from like the TV, from
Mhm,
text messages, from my phone, and I'm just in the house cleaning or cooking something, or just being outside, playing basketball, walking around. Like I'm just taking a break from technology. And I feel
mhm.
like that is a important, essential thing that everybody has to do nowadays.
And I'm interested
And
in your second point here.
oh, yeah, my second one my second point in
What?
reality. I am, ironically, more comfortable filming by myself than I am with, like, if Maui was with me or if I was in a group
Really?
with family or friends. I noticed that. Like, when I went on my solo trip to London, I
Mhm.
had, like, my tripod everywhere, like, I didn't even hesitate. I was like, "I'm gonna put
Uh-huh.
my tripod right there and just, like, walk about 5 feet away and pretend that I'm looking up into the sky and stuff." Like, it was easy for me. I think it's because if if people see me by myself, then they'll be like, "Oh, okay, she's by herself. She's just recording
Mhm.
herself. It's fine." But if I'm with Maui and I'm, like, setting up a tripod, then I just feel like, "Oh, that I feel like other people would look at us like, "Oh, they're one of them." They're, like,
Oh.
pretending they're creating something
Oh.
rather than I'm just like, "Oh, I'm a solo person who
Mhm.
wants to capture
Mhm.
the moment with me in it." I don't know.
Mm.
It might be, like, very way off from what they're
No.
thinking, but that's just how I feel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it, and that's your experience, that's your reality, you know, so you're allowed to feel however you want.
Mhm.
Interesting,
Ye
okay. Oh, man.
Yeah, what
Yeah.
about you?
Wow, realities and being a creator. I was saying, like, it takes time and it takes practice, and, like, honestly, I've been doing this for almost 4 years, and I still feel like I am nowhere near where I want to be,
Same.
and that's because I've taken a lot of breaks, and there's other things we have to do to keep life going, right? We're not full-time content creators yet.
Mhm.
And, things are always changing, the landscape's always changing, so keeping up with trends and not even just trends, but equipment, keeping up with different types of things. But yeah, I think it takes time, it takes practice, which I need to do more of, and you will likely burn out, whether it's from creating content or not, or being on a screen or near tech, like you said, or not. So
Mhm.
rest when you can. And even just like I said earlier about setting aside planned time to capture content, set aside time to rest as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very,
That's
very important.
something I'm learning. And like I think Trizzy, I haven't even talked to you about this, but I think for me, because of my like kind of my new schedule the past 2 months, I'm like, I need to change the way I'm posting online. And I think I want to kind of post only a few days a week versus every day like I was doing. 'Cause I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I physically cannot anymore.
Yeah.
So and every time I think about it, it's like, "Oh my gosh, the week has gone by." And so I'm like, I think I need to be more intentional about, okay, I'm just gonna post like Monday, Tuesday, Friday versus like trying to post whenever I can remember or whenever I have time, which
Mhm.
in the end ends up being it doesn't happen, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the realities we're going through right now, things we've lived and things we're living.
Yeah. Also, like,
Mhm.
consistency is tough too, and that plays
It
a
is.
role with, wanting to take or needing to take a break and things like that. But yeah, consistency is tough.
It's hard
So,
because I'm very, very inconsistent right now, like, incredibly inconsistent, and it's killing me, and I'm like, oh, and I just need to jump back on it, but then I'm like, I'm just about to get busier this October
same,
with all the
same.
traveling, so we'll
It's
figure it
all good.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll definitely figure it out like we
Anyone has
always
any
do.
great recommendations or we'd obviously, we're sharing our tips and hacks and things and whatnot, but we want to hear from you. So whatever you do, your processes, your tips and tricks, DM
Mhm.
us, email
Yeah.
us, leave a comment in the YouTube video.
I'm glad we're sharing this, sharing,
Yeah.
like, the reality side of things
Oh
because
my god, you have to. It's not
exactly.
all
Some people
Bali
think
and butterflies.
yeah. Oh my gosh. Let's lead into the worst creator fail that we have, and I goodness gracious. I experienced this last March, discussed about it in, the solo traveling
Mhm.
episode when I went to London for the first time, and I did not back up my content after every single day at the end of every single day, which I should have. And then, next thing you know, I got pickpocketed for my Insta360 camera, which had a lot of great footage of me in Bath. Not in a bath, but in Bath, the city.
In Bath in England.
I was really, really bummed
I was
about
gonna
that,
say
and then
lucky hijacker of the pod.
so, yeah, that was a definite creator
Bummer.
fail. Yeah. That
After that though, I have a question. I can't remember, remind me what trip it was, because didn't you say there was a trip either after or right before that where you and Maui were going to back up every day? Was that the cruise?
that
Or was
was,
it something else?
Indonesia.
Which you did go to after London,
Mhm.
right? Okay, yeah.
Yep.
I remember you telling me that. You're like, "We're gonna back up every single night."
Yep. We sure did.
Okay,
And
good.
then there's, like, you have your iCloud, but then you also have, like, Dropbox
Yeah.
as well, box.com. Some of them have limited, some of them have unlimited, so
Mhm,
pick your
mhm.
poison wisely.
And I'm curious about your number 2 in here. Wait, I didn't hear this story. I didn't hear this story.
This is, like, so triggering, all these
Oh my
traumatic
god.
events. Okay, wanted to fly my drone inside my house right when I first got it. It was I mean, not right when I first got it, but,
Mhm.
in the early stages and thinking that I had it down, but I do not have it down. I was like, "Let me fly my drone in the house." My drone's, sensitivity to things like walls or people next to it, um was so high, and I didn't realize that you could kind of turn off the sensitivity. So, I had it, going up my stairs, and it's like a kind of a hallway, like a narrow hallway, and I was just, like, sitting on my couch because I was like, "Oh, I could see where I'm going with this." So, I'm, like, in the hallway, and the footage isn't moving. It's just staying in one spot, and I was like, "What is going on?" So, I go up to the stairs to see where my drone is, and it's kind of just banging on the wall, scraping
No.
the wall. The
No.
propellers is just, like, kind of just, like, flicking it a little bit, and I was like, "Why is it not, like, stopping? Why didn't it make a sound or anything?" So, I couldn't land it, and I was like, "What do I do?" And at that time, I didn't know how to, hand land it.
Right, right.
I was like, "What do I do? What do I do?" And I forgot what I did. It probably wasn't safe for it, but,
You, like,
yeah.
take a stick and swat it out of the air or something.
Knowing how dumb I was back then, I don't know. And then after that, when I tried to fly my drone outside, it crashed into the wall because I already messed
Mm,
up the propellers, and, it didn't send me any signal that my drone
mhm.
has been damaged, so I thought it was fine. But it wasn't fine, and I had to pay $200 to get it fixed.
Are you kidding?
Not kidding at all. Sad
Oh,
story. Yeah. That's why I have a lot of anxiety with my drone because 'cause I'm like,
yeah.
"Oh, it's already, like, injured."
Okay, well, that makes sense. I didn't know
Mm,
that. When
yeah.
earlier when you were saying, "Oh, I'm not comfortable with it yet," and I'm like, "I haven't heard this story, so, oh, what a
Yeah.
bummer,
Sucks.
dude. I'm
Don't fly your
sorry."
drone in the house.
And you probably needed a little Christine Lozada tutorial because she flies
Yeah.
her drones inside all the time. I'm like,
That's
"How?"
true. Yeah. She probably puts it on sport mode now that I know what that means.
Sport? Yeah, what does that
Sport mode
mean?
kinda turns off the obstacle avoidance
Okay.
that drone was feeling.
Okay,
So,
okay.
yeah, don't fly your drone in the house
Interesting.
unless it's a mansion. That's what I should say.
Unless it's massive, right? Okay, wait, this makes me laugh. Worst creator fail. I've been thinking about how this is very timely. So, someone was in the front row at a recent Usher concert and they handed their phone to Usher. Well, this was before you went. They handed their phone to Usher. He
Mhm.
took it about to like record a video or take a photo and he looks at it and goes, "Your storage is full." And he hands the phone back to the girl in the front row and then walks away. Could you imagine? Like,
That's
that
so
takes the
sad.
cake for any worst creator fail. I'm like, when you had your moment with Usher and it's not captured because your storage
Yeah,
is full,
it's so sad.
back your stuff up like Trizzy does.
Mhm. Even if you're not a creator.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
I feel like I have more because what I'm about to say as my worst creator fail felt like a big deal to me at the time, but I feel like I've had worse. So I don't I feel kinda lame in saying this, but I was just like, this was the first thing that came to mind. For me, I went on, one of my favorite trips of all time, 6 weeks in the Philippines last November, and I was seeing family and friends and meeting new people and going on 2 multi-day boat tours, like my favorite thing to do. And I literally forget my trusty, trusty tripod that I showed you earlier, my one and only that I bring on every trip. I forget it. And so I literally made my sister pull over so I could find a Target, and we ran to the nearest Target so I could bring a tripod. And it was the ugly, I still have it. It's the
I feel like
ugliest, fattest tripod with a ring light that I never used. The tripod was 3 feet tall. It wouldn't even hold my phone because it would just like fall backward. It was too heavy.
that ring light was very, like, obnoxiously big
It
too.
was literally like 8 inches, like a personal pizza. Like a personal pizza. So unnecessary. It wasn't even like little baby ring light, 2 inches. No, it was like bigger than my face. And then to like top all that off, I probably used that silly, dumb ring light tripod once in my 6 weeks because I hated it so much, and I went back to my old ways of just propping my phone up against something to film.
That's why oh, another creator hack, have a water bottle with you because that's always a great thing to prop your
Oh,
phone
yeah.
up against.
I did, yeah, but when I wanted the height, you know,
Yeah,
and like, it's hard to trust other people to get what you want
yeah,
sometimes.
true. There is a new
So
water bottle that has a magnet, and it's specifically for your phone to as, like, a tripod. It's like a tripod water bottle.
yeah, what is
Mhm.
we'll post a picture of it
Yeah.
and, like, what it is. Do you remember the name or
I don't remember the brand name. I feel like there's several, but
okay.
I'll find it and then, post it.
That makes so much sense, just like the foam roller water bottle.
Mhm.
But yeah, this tripod stays collecting dust, so I wasted $30 in space in my suitcase lugging it island hopping in the Philippines. So yeah, I guess that's my worst creator fail. Oh, it was so bad. Okay,
Okay.
okay, this is a good topic. We're gonna talk processes or lack thereof. So, Trizzy, what is your process like?
For sure. Okay, so let's say I have a content and I have a script with it. I'll create the script first
Mhm.
and then shot list or no shot list. It really depends on what the situation is. If I'm really on the go, like on travels, I'll just take as much B-roll as I can, no shot list in mind. But if it's something, let's say if I wanted to do a Caitlin Clark 100 shots attempt video, then I'll have my shot list, in mind and
Mhm.
create from there. Because sometimes my curated is scripted and sometimes my curated is not scripted. So there's, like, a lot of, spider webs that differentiates my content. I would start with the script, write the script out, and then do my content shot list, and then work out, the edit shot list and whatever transition that I need for a specific shot or footage that needs to be captured. Then I'll shoot it, go back to computer, and then start editing it. And then, depending on the music, I will have it pre-planned, or I'll just grab from whatever I think is perfect for it, and then just go from there. And then it's posted.
Beautiful. Beautiful process. But Trizzy does keep in mind, y'all, Trizzy does this for work, for her she is literally a professional. Like, she was a professional before she became a content creator, you
Hmm.
know?
Yeah.
So she's great at this. She's your go-to when you have these questions. So DM her. So
Yeah. Hit
I'm
me
just
up.
like telling everyone to slide in. Slide
I
in the
got you
DM.
guys. I got you guys. That's the glory of having a podcast. We reach out to people so they could hear us, and then we could get some info for them as well.
100%, 100%.
Hmm.
And we'll talk a little bit about what our podcast process is like just because I think it'd be interesting, especially
Hmm.
because this will have been posted just after our 5-year our internal 5-year anniversary. I think we have 2 anniversaries. We have
We
an
do.
internal and then we have a public facing, and I like to celebrate both. I'm like
Hell
one of those
yeah.
people that celebrates when we started dating and when we got
Hmm.
married.
Same, same.
So, yeah, yeah, for sure. But me and Trizzy have like a sheet that we work off, a Google sheet, and the question is, "What is your process like?" And Trizzy has like, "Oh, curated versus not curated, scripted versus non-scripted." And next to my name, it says, "What process?" JK, capture everything, which is kind of true. And it's a little chaotic. And to be honest, I don't recommend it. Although, after hearing Raimi, do you know Raimi? She's a massive content creator. She's a great travel creator.
Sounds familiar, yes.
She posted in one of her reels that she too does not have a process. So, to be honest, someone as great as she is and as big as her, I felt a little bit more comfortable
That's good.
because she's in a reel. She's like, I don't have a process. I just post when I have time. And she says, I want to start, and I'm like, I'm kind of in the same boat. I don't have a process like Trizzy does, but like I said, remember Trizzy's a video professional before she became a content creator. For me, I just try to capture as much as I can. And a lot of times I'll create, and then I let stuff sit in the drafts. I think one of my big I let him sit in the drafts till I'm ready to caption it, till I'm ready to write copy to it, etc., and then post it out. But one thing I did notice that I think this still blows some people's minds, and I can't remember if you remember that I do this, is that I always edit before I write copy and captions, which people are like, "What? Why didn't you try the other way?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I should try the other way. I've just been doing it this way for so long." But I also think that's what's slowing me down, is that I'm not writing copy and captions before, and I'm just going straight to the videos and pictures of it all.
Hmm,
What do you think?
interesting. I
Yeah.
think I'm more I mean, aside from the scripted part,
Mhm.
I'm more like you. I'll do the edit and then I'll write the copy afterwards.
But you're just better at it, so
I don't know, I don't know.
but I think
However,
it
I
makes
I
for
will
good
admit that,
anyway.
our YouTube Shorts, sometimes I'll grab
Mhm.
the caption that I have for there onto our Instagram because I just feel
Yeah.
like it's just easier that way,
Sure,
and
sure. Yeah, so I'm gonna try that, and then my process, like, honestly, I just love using the Google Workspace sheets and docs, and knowing that you can download it offline and edit things and share things easily if you have Gmail accounts. My process is heavily embedded within Google Sheets and Google Docs.
Mhm. Same, same.
So, yeah, but, trying to refine my process, but at the base of it, I just capture everything, and then I try to organize it.
Mhm.
But we aspire to all be like Trizzy and refine it more.
Thank you. But I will say the short form is a little bit harder to get, like,
Yeah.
a really strong process grasp on it,
Mhm.
because when I talk like, when I think about, the Maui and Trizzy YouTube channel we have a great process. So, I'll write the script, and then I'll do the voiceover, and then Maui does the editing, and then in the meantime, while she's putting, like, footage together, I'm exporting our 360 footage, and then once she's done doing, like, the base edit, I go in and I'll fix the coloring and throw
Mhm.
on the text and, any effects on it too, and then that's that. Like, that process, we have, like, a easy, what is it? Like a task board of
Mhm.
what's done, who needs to do
That's
this, who needs
good.
to do that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if it's, like, a long form thing versus a short form thing, but I do find it easier with the long form.
We kind of apply a little bit of that to the podcast
Mhm.
also.
Yeah.
Because we have, like, specialties,
Yeah.
Trizzy is our editor for those that don't know, but don't be surprised, Trizzy is our in-house editor, so she edits everything. We get
Mhm.
guests on the show, we at the top of each year or twice a year, we kind of come up with, like, 100 ideas that we could talk about,
Mhm.
right? And then, we kind of assign them to relevant times during the year.
Mhm.
But but yeah, your process sounds great for Maui and Trizzy, and that's why they're doing so well on YouTube. But
Trying.
but yeah, for podcasting, what would you say, like, some big differences are, between, like, your YouTube channel and then, like, the podcast? I mean, there's obvious differences, but
Mhm. I would say, clipping, like creating
Mm,
clips from
mhm,
each thing. Like, not to say Maui and Trizzy we don't clip, but, all I have to do with Maui and Trizzy is kind of, like, clip and then rotate it, but
Mhm.
with our podcast, when we want a vertical,
Mhm.
sometimes I'll flip it, like, it depending if the content that I show needs to be in full frame or not. But for the
Mhm.
most
Mhm.
part, I try to keep it very vertical, so it's a zoom in and a reframe on whoever's talking.
Mm,
So
mhm.
sometimes it'll be your face if you're talking about, Copa America, and then if
Mhm.
I chime in with a comment, I have to shift it and
Mm.
move it to my face to show like reaction or
Yeah.
response and stuff. So that would be like the hardest part and the most different
Mhm.
that I
Mhm.
would say. Yeah.
For sure.
And uploading to YouTube Shorts has been a breeze because they allow us to upload and schedule it from the
Yes.
computer. As of for Instagram,
So nice.
you freaking Instagram. Can't
I
you
know.
just fix your desktop version, please?
Right? Like, we like working on the desktop, and then for the
Mhm.
longest time, actually, that might still be the case, like, if something is in your drafts, it doesn't show up because obviously Trizzy and I share the T2A, like, Instagram and TikTok account, but drafts don't show up in the account, they only show up on the individual user's device.
Mhm. Yep.
Is that still the
Kills
case?
me.
I
Still
haven't
the case. Kills
like,
me. You
it's
you cannot schedule a collab post. And I'm
Mhm,
just like, "Man," even Twitter has, like, a good platform to
mhm.
schedule tweets and videos and stuff.
Yeah.
But man, Instagram, come on now.
I know, with all the other updates you're making, like, make these few, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And then getting I've noticed, I mean, Trizzy usually gets our audio up before we get the video up because if you are watching, I mean, we know a lot of you listen and then if a lot of you watch as well, but we try to overlay like vlog style or we show you different things, charts, photos, etc., experiences on videos like this one, this content creation one. So that usually just takes a little more lift than just uploading an audio where we don't care what we look like.
Yeah.
So
All I gotta do is just edit the sound levels, which is
Mm,
usually been fine. And yeah, audio is always the first and easiest to get done.
love it, process, but we're open to more efficiencies, so if you have advice, we'd love to hear it.
Mhm. Okay. What would you tell someone who is just starting out?
I tried not to look at yours because, like I said, y'all, me and Trizzy work off a shared sheet, right? But I didn't want her answers to influence my answers. So every time I put in my answers, because some of these episodes we don't necessarily script in, but we have notes, right? Like
Mhm.
as most
Yeah.
people do. And so I was like, okay, don't look at hers. I'm sure hers are great, but I was like, no, I don't want to be influenced by them. So for me, I just say, I mean, the reason I'm not going to say consistency is because I think a lot of people will already push and say that. But one thing I've realized over the past maybe like 6 to 8 months to a year is like the rest portion, build it in because you will burn out at some point. I know it's really sad, but it's true. You want to build in that rest. It's you want to like just be prepared all the time so you don't have to try to rest when it's too late, right? And that kind of ties in with start slower rather than these this is literally what I wrote. Start slower than these dumb 100 reels a day for 100 days straight challenges. And I'm serious. Like I will never ever do one of those things. Even when I was part of like a business coaching group, I couldn't. I could never finish those things. And it's
Yeah.
just it's too much too fast.
Mhm.
It's
Even 30 days
unsustainable.
is a lot.
Oh, it is, like, a
Like
real 1 day every day for 30 days, like, do you
mhm.
you can't be doing anything else with your life. So, I would say start slower and build up, and, like, that's the reason Trizzy and I, um, when we finally nailed Ticket to Anywhere podcast processes down, we're like, "Let's do every other week for release because that's what we can handle." And now we take July and December off from new episodes and we put replays because we've banked almost 100 episodes now and it's time to replay some of like the greatest hits and revisit those. And we love the pace that we're going on now. Obviously we'd love to give you as much content as possible, but the pace that we're at now is great and it works for us. So
Mhm.
and it allows us to rest as well, certain
Yeah.
parts of the year. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's my advice to someone who's just starting out.
That's great. Great
Mhm.
advice. I love it. And there I always come across even like the top creators saying rest is best, and you
Mhm,
don't want to diminish your quality, like all the
mhm,
if you're doing like informational content, you don't want to just like do like half-ass information just to
mhm,
push out this content. So spend some
100%.
time for yourself and then spend some time on your content. Mine would be stop looking at yourself in your selfie videos, y'all. Come
That's a big
on.
tip that I think a lot of people don't understand, so I'm
Mhm.
excited for you to explain this one.
When you're talking to the camera directly and not looking at yourself, there's a big difference in like the connection that you make as a
Mhm,
creator. If I'm talking
mhm,
to the camera, I'm talking to you and you're going to feel that emotion. You're going to feel what all the information I'm going to give you and you're going to be more inspired by it. But if for those, like I'm currently looking at myself right now. So if I'm talking to
mhm,
you saying like, "Oh yeah, this and that, this tip, this gear is amazing," then you're not going to really like feel convinced, feel connected to me and stuff like that. So I know everyone always wants to see themselves in the camera on their phone and they want to use the front camera, the one that where you can see your face. But the rear camera has such better quality too.
mhm,
And if you're scared that you won't get the right framing of your face or something, put it on the 0.5x. That's wide angle. And then just hold it out. And then you'll most likely capture yourself in that frame. So that's all I got to say. Just stop looking at yourself in the
yeah.
videos, please.
Definitely comes with practice, right? Because I think we all do it.
We've all done it in, in the early phases and stuff, but graduate, keep practicing.
Mhm. You know, there is that push to, like you said, connect with your audience, right? And talk to your audience like it's just one person in the room versus saying like you all, hi everyone. So sometimes I try to be conscious of that.
Mhm.
But talking to someone like you're oh, like that's a big it's not trendy, but it's the way that content is going. All these like get ready with me's, right? And like talking
Mhm.
to the camera like you're on FaceTime with a
Yeah.
friend.
Right.
It looks good. It makes you feel like, "Oh my gosh, I feel like we're just on the phone, like, while you're getting ready," right? It's very
Yeah,
personal.
exactly.
So,
Exactly. That's what you gotta do. Just talk to yourself in the mirror or film some vlog styles here and there. Practice. If you don't use it, you lose it.
yeah. Oh,
Like
don't remind
like
me.
I've
I
been
have to use
saying
it.
it.
That tip
Same, same, same.
her advice is for me. It's really resonating with me right now.
It's for everybody, even for me too. I think that's all for me. If you want to add anything, Leah.
I think that's it. This was a really I mean, we loved it, so we hope that you love it as much as we loved it because it's the reality and it's something that we haven't talked about on the podcast. Like, yes, we are a travel podcast, but what happens behind the camera and behind the mic? That's what this episode
Hmm.
was about, right? And what
Yeah.
happens to us mentally when we're working through everything and we're doing
Hmm.
things and we're posting things, you know? So, we
Exactly.
wanted to shed a little light on what that process is like for us.
We're just as shy as you if you are shy, and we could be just as animated as you if you are animated.
Mhm.
We're both, and it
Mhm.
just depends on the situation. So you're not alone in the content creation process. Thanks, y'all, for listening in on another episode of the Ticket to Anywhere podcast, and we'll catch you in 2 more Wednesdays.
Yeah. See ya.
This is Trizzy at TrizzInc.
This is Leah at LA in Flight.
To find even more travel tips on budgeting, destinations, and our favorite items, sign up for our monthly newsletter, The Check-In, linked in the show notes or description.
This is the Ticket to Anywhere podcast. Thanks for listening.